Córdoba, Spain. October 8th, 2011. Somewhere between orange trees and dry Andalusian earth, a fire burned for 3.5 hours, hot enough to reach 1200 degrees, hot enough to erase 2 children from the world. Ruth was 6 years old. José was 2. They were small. They were ordinary. They loved their father. And that morning, their father had dissolved tranquilizers in sweet water and made them drink it. While they slept, he built the fire. When it was ready, he placed them in it. Then he drove to a park, called his brother, told him the children had wandered off. Then he called emergency services. Number 1, 1, 2. His voice breaking, panicked. A father searching desperately for his missing children. The cameras at that park recorded him walking in alone. No children. Never any children. To understand what happened on that day, you have to go back to where he began. José Bretón Gómez was born in 1973 in the La Viñuela neighborhood of Córdoba. Raised in a religious school, middle-class family, unremarkable upbringing. At 21, he enlisted in the Spanish Army, a volunteer in a mechanized brigade. That same year, they sent him to Bosnia-Herzegovina. What he saw there, he never spoke about. Not really. He came back quieter. He left the army in 1997, drifted between jobs, truck driver, ambulance driver. He met a woman named Ruth Ortiz, a veterinarian from Córdoba. They married. They had 2 children. A daughter, also named Ruth. A son named José, after his father. People who knew him said he was a modern father. He cooked, he ironed, he took the children to doctor appointments. But his wife described something else. Controlling, jealous, obsessive, a quiet, organized rage. In September 2011, Ruth Ortiz told him the marriage was over. She was staying in Huelva with the children. He accepted it, calmly. What she didn't know, what no one knew, was that in the 3 weeks that followed, he was already planning, precisely, methodically, the way a former soldier plans something that must not fail. On September 29th, he bought the tranquilizers. 2 brands, Orfidal, Motivan, prescribed by his own psychiatrist. Between October 5th and 7th, he drove to a gas station in Huelva and purchased 271 liters of diesel fuel. He hauled timber to the family property, a rural estate outside Córdoba called Las Quemadillas. The name, in Spanish, means the Little Burns. He also rehearsed his alibi. The day before the murders, he took his nephews to school and deliberately left them alone for a few minutes, just long enough to later describe, convincingly, how a child can disappear in a public space. He had thought of everything. October 8th. He left his parents' house at 1:30 in the afternoon. The children were with him. They were alive. He had dissolved the tranquilizers in sugar water. The children drank it. He later said that when he arrived to pick up his son that morning, the 2-year-old reached up for him. Arms open. He thought, what a thing, that today is the last day I'll ever see you. He said this in a letter 14 years later. He said it as though it was sad, as though he were the one who suffered. The fire burned from 2 in the afternoon to 5:30. 250 kilograms of timber, 80 liters of diesel, 1,200 degrees Celsius, the temperature of a professional crematorium. 5 forestry surveillance towers within kilometers spotted the smoke and reported it. Nobody investigated. He stood next to it the entire time, 3.5 hours, waiting. At 6:18 in the evening, he called his brother and said the children had wandered off. At 6:41, he called 112. He was crying, Police launched a full search. Hundreds of volunteers, national media. 2 days later, investigators found the remains of a fire at Las Quemadillas. They found bones, very small bones, heavily calcined. Then the investigation stopped. A forensic analyst from the National Police Scientific Unit examined the bones at the scene. Her name was Josefina Lamas. Her official conclusion: the bones were from rodents and small carnivores, not human. That report, those 4 words, would freeze the investigation for 10 months. Bretón, already in custody on suspicion, nearly walked free. The detail that haunts me most about this case is how close he came. Ruth Ortiz refused to accept it. She hired her own expert, Francisco Etxeberria, a forensic anthropologist from the Basque country. A man who had identified the remains of Civil War victims, of torture survivors, of the disappeared. One of the most respected forensic scientists in the world. He examined the same bones from Las Quemadillas. His conclusion was 6 words long. Without any doubt, the bones are human. They belonged to children. One aged approximately 2 years. One aged approximately 6. The police forensic analyst retracted her report. The government commissioned a 3rd expert, co-director of the Atapuerca excavations. He confirmed it. 10 months. That is how long a single flawed forensic report added to this case. 10 months during which Bretón sat in provisional custody, while the official version of events was, those bones were from animals. The Operación Resplandor, Operation Radiance, had nearly been extinguished by its own investigators. In September 2012, José Bretón was formally charged with the premeditated murder of his children. The prosecution built its case around what they called fists of evidence. Security footage showing him entering the park alone, the fuel purchase records, the timber, the tranquilizer prescriptions, a cousin who later testified that Bretón told him, while still in provisional custody, they will never find them. Said 3 separate times, not as a question, as a certainty, he had told his cousin the truth. Without a body, Spanish law made conviction enormously difficult. He had calculated this precisely. He later confessed it plainly. If there were no bodies, they could not accuse me of anything. They could not convict me. I almost succeeded. I just needed a little more luck. The trial began on June 17th, 2013. The Provincial Court of Córdoba, a jury of 11, 7 women, 4 men. Throughout every session, he remained completely still. He spoke of his children in the present tense. He said he loved them madly. He said he was innocent. On the last day, Ruth Ortiz testified from behind a screen. She said, when he told her the children were missing, she knew instantly she would never see them again. When she screamed at him, monster, murderer. Across the courtroom floor, he did not flinch. Not once during the entire trial did he show grief. Journalists covering the proceedings described his eyes as black and inscrutable. On July 11, 2013, the jury returned a unanimous verdict. Guilty on both counts. 11 votes. 11, July 22, 2013. 40 years, 20 for Ruth, 20 for Jose. Aggravating factors: premeditation, kinship, cruelty. He was also ordered to pay 500,000 euros to their mother. In March 2015, the maximum effective sentence was reduced to 25 years under Spanish criminal code. He can leave in 2036. In October 2021, during a rehabilitation workshop inside Herrera de la Mancha prison, he spoke for the first time. I am here for having murdered my children. My Jose and my Ruth. I spent 15 days planning everything because I wanted to hurt her. In 2025, a writer published 60 letters he had exchanged with Bretón over 3 years. In those letters, he gave his reason: impatience. Ruth Ortiz tried to block the book. The court allowed it. This case has a name now in Spain: violencia vicaria, vicarious violence, killing the children, not out of hate for them, but to destroy the mother through them, using those she loves most as the weapon. Ruth Ortiz is still alive. She uses a different name. She does not forget. She says she cannot. He told the writer he killed them out of impatience, that he believed he was protecting them from a toxic future, that he wanted to ask forgiveness. These statements exist now in a published book. They will outlast him. Ruth Ortiz said, "We cannot give murderers a platform to speak about the children they killed." The court disagreed. Ruth and José Bretón Ortiz never had the chance to grow old enough to be forgotten by anyone who loved them. He took that too. Every year on October 8th, the number grows. 13 years, 14, still counting. What is the right amount of time for a life you destroyed? I don't think anyone has ever answered that.